Hi, welcome to Bev's Plant-Based Powered Kitchen. I'm happy that you came back. I today am making some really good collard greens. I'm going to tell you what you need. These are collard greens in case you don't know what they look like. They look like this. A lot of people have never even tasted them. They're wonderful. I'm from the South, and so I grew up eating collard greens. Not the way I'm going to make them today, but I'm going to show you how to make them and how they taste so delicious. I'm going to tell you what you need. This is a bundle. Marianne, this is a bundle. I usually buy these at Whole Foods. You can buy them at different grocery stores, King Super. I like when the leaves aren't humongous. Sometimes in the South you get really huge collard greens. These are really make tender collard greens. I usually buy 6 bundles because I like to make a lot, because a lot of times we don't eat them all, but I freeze them and they're just as good frozen. And I'll tell you how to put those in the Instant Pot when they're frozen and how perfect they taste every time. Here's what you'll need. 6 bundles of collard greens. You will need a yellow onion, some crushed red pepper, 2 cloves of garlic, vinegar, just a tablespoon of vinegar. I love Bragg's. 2 cups of vegetable broth. You can use water, it's just not as flavorful. I love to add a little bit extra because I love pot liquor, and I'll talk about that in a few minutes. And here's a secret ingredient that I found. Since you don't add any kind of smoky seasoning in there, I use smoked salt. And I will give you a link to that of how to buy it. I buy it on Amazon. You just do a sprinkle. Only add that after it's cooked, just so you know. So we'll talk about that later. But the first thing we're gonna do today is I'll tell you how I do it. I already have my collard greens all ready to go right here. What I usually do is I fill my sink up with cool water, open up my bundle of collard greens, it looks like this, and I dip them in my cold water and let them soak. I'm not going to do that today, I'm just going to rinse them. You know they're filthy dirty because when you drain the water, there is ton of dirt at the bottom. So if you want to eat dirt, that's okay. I think sometimes that could be good for you, but I wash my greens. Show you real quick how I cut them. Just so you know, I'm going to bend my camera down just so you can see what I'm doing here. I don't have a bendable thing yet, but maybe you'll be able to see me better. There you go. So I really believe in good kitchen knives, worth the investment. I never put them in the dishwasher. I have a sharpener. This one is made from Germany. I think I got it at Williams in Sonoma. I absolutely love it. But what I do, if you see the collard leaf, it has veins in it. I just cut down each side of the stalk like this, and I stack them. I stack just the leaves. They look like this. I'll show you. I'm going to keep going, and I'll talk about how collard greens are good for you. They have a lot of wonderful things. They come from the kale and Brussels sprout family. Don't let that scare you if you don't like kale or Brussels sprouts. Collard greens are delicious. I think that people have forgotten about, ooh, that's really dirty, let me wash that one better. I think people have forgotten how good they taste. Of course you can buy them in a can, Old Glory. I don't recommend that. I think nothing's better than fresh. Today we're going to be using the Instant Pot, which is right here, and then we'll talk about that too. It's one thing I have in my kitchen. I have 2 of them. Can't live without them. This is my big Instant Pot. I use these most of the time if I have a lot of people coming over, or if I'm making collard greens, because they really fill up the pot, and you're going to look like I'm making a ton of collard greens. You're going to think, oh my gosh, is she going to eat all that? Well, here's the thing. When you cook collard greens, when you put them in the Instant Pot, it's all the way to the top, and when you open it up, you're like, what the heck happened? All my collard greens are gone. They just cook down so small. So you'll see that this isn't near as many as you think. And plus, I was mentioning earlier, I love to freeze them. I put them in a container in my freezer, and when I'm ready to cook them, I take them out that morning. And then that night, I just throw them in the Instant Pot for 1 minute, and they're perfect. They taste like I just made them. They're delicious. You know, I told you I was from the South. And in the South, the way I grew up, there was like fat back in here and all kinds of stuff, some bacon grease. And, you know, in the South, a lot of times people think, oh, these collard greens are not going to be good if you don't add all that stuff to them. Well, I'm here to tell you, I have made these collard greens. Oh, watch me. I'm sorry. Let me look. Watch me real quick. I stacked them all on top of each other, and now I'm cutting them like in ribbons. And I'll show you how they look. They end up looking like this. Oh, like this. Like this. Little pieces. A whole bunch of them like this, if you can see me. That's what I do. So now I'm gonna, and sometimes I might just cut them smaller. It depends on how big you like them. I like them kind of leafy. And then I'm gonna add them to my collard greens that we're gonna use later. Okay, so that's how you're gonna cut all 6 bundles. Wash them, dip them in water, cut the stalk out, and then stack them on top of each other and cut them like ribbons. I hope that makes sense. If not, ask me next time and I'll show you. This is how I cut my onion. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you. I cut both ends off. A little bit more of that one off. Peel the onion skin. You know, our life is like onion skins. Every time I am cutting an onion, I think all the layers of our life and the peel and all of that. Wash the onion. And then what I like to do with the onion is I cut it in half this way. So I cut it in half and then I lay it on the counter and I just cut in the shape of, see how the you have lines on your onion? I just follow those lines. Cut, 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 cut. Thin, not too thick. They're better thin when the collard greens are cooked than too thick. And don't cut your fingers, I've done that too. Okay, so open my Instant Pot. This is my handy dandy Instant Pot. This is, I think, an 8 quart. I love it. Take the top off. And I don't use oil. I'm gonna pop back up so you can see me again. Oh, there. I don't use oil. A lot of studies have shown oil clogs arteries. So I try not to do that. So I use vegetable broth, just a couple of tablespoons to brown my onions. So I'm gonna go to my Instant Pot. It's plugged in and on and ready to go. And I am looking for my, my saute. So I push saute and I'm gonna take the onions, which you see that I already sliced up, just dump them in here. And then open my vegetable broth. I use low sodium vegetable broth. Sometimes I don't buy that by accident, but I try to use that. And I just put a little bit of a splash in there. I don't measure it. And I'm gonna let that start cooking. While that starts cooking, I am gonna cut my garlic. And I have 2 cloves of garlic. If you really love garlic, you can use more than 2. I'm gonna use 3 just because I like garlic so much. And I'll show you a cool way that I learned. I took a cool Indian cooking class last year, and I was just mesmerized how they chop the garlic. So I'm gonna show you how I do it because it's helpful. Hold on, let me push it back down here. Okay, so what I like to do, if you take your garlic clove, lie it down like this, and just put your knife on top of it and mash it. And then you get this perfect garlic clove. So that's how I do it. It works quick. I do have a couple other ways I can open them with this little handy dandy cylinder, which I use sometime, but I'm not that great at that right now, so I think I'll stick with this. Anyway, I want to tell you a little bit about why collard greens are just, oh, I'm gonna cry. My eyes from these onions are gonna make me cry. Anyway, I want to tell you why collard greens are so good for you. They have lots of vitamins. They have vitamin A, vitamin K, B6, vitamin C. They have calcium, they have iron and magnesium. So dark leafy greens are a great way to lower your cholesterol. It's a great cancer fighter. There's a lot of doctors that think you should eat tons of dark leafy greens every day. I wish I ate more. I try to eat them as much as I can because they're good for you. They're good for your digestion system. And I'm telling you, these are so good. You know, I grew up on these. I add a splash of vinegar when I'm eating them. That's how we do it in the South. My kids didn't grow up in the South, but they love them. They eat them. You know, some good friends that are big meat eaters have eaten them and eat second helpings because they just love them. Okay, I got my garlic cloves, 3 garlic cloves cooking. That's how easy that is. And I'm just gonna let that, hold it back up here. I'm gonna let that just cook. You can see it starting to smoke. Let those brown a little bit. Now, you don't have to do this step. You don't have to cook the onions and soften it because it's a pressure cooker, so it's gonna cook them anyway. I like to do that. I think that it makes more flavor when you do it. It's so simple. Literally, once I get this ready and throw the onions in, the garlic in here, it takes 60 minutes for them to cook. Of course, it takes a little longer than that because it takes a little longer for the pot to come to pressure, but once it comes to full pressure, it's only 16 minutes. So anyway, well worth the wait. And we'll get to taste them together in just a little bit. But anyway, if there's things while this is cooking that you want to learn, or questions that you have, or different recipes that you would like, just message me, let me know. Also, there's a subscribe button on my YouTube channel. If you would subscribe it, then you would know when another video is up. I'm going to try to do it once a week. And of course, the more people see it, the more YouTube will show it. So please, thank you for helping me with that. So it's cooking up. It smells so good, delightful. I'm gonna add, I already added that. We're gonna let this cook up. Maybe just about, I cook it maybe 5 minutes. I don't overcook the onions. So what I'm gonna do now is, once they're cooked, I'll show you what it looks like in here just so you can see, kind of see the onions cooking in the smoke. Yum, yum, yum. Let's see. Okay, and again, the next thing that's going to go in there are all these collard greens. Some people put a little splash of sugar in there, like a tablespoon. I think that's just a thing that I grew up. Everything had sugar. I don't add sugar. You can add sugar. I don't suggest it. You don't need it. It doesn't. I don't know what it does, but I don't add any sugar. What I'm going to do is, I think this is ready now. I'm going to go ahead and add my greens. So these are 6 bundles of organic collard greens. And I'm going to move this over. I'm going to add these to my Instant Pot. I have them in the strainer. This is a great sink strainer, by the way. Just fits in your sink. My friend Annie taught me about that. So I use it a lot, especially with all the greens that we eat in this house. I remind you, this is almost going on our 4th year of being plant-based, so I have a lot of lessons learned the hard way I can share with you. Let's see. Okay, so now my collard greens are in here. If you look, it is all the way to the top. And the Instant Pot always says, don't fill it to the top, but trust me, this is okay to do this because they cook down. And I told you I add 2 cups of vegetable broth. But guess what? I'm going to add 3 because I love pot liquor. And I know some of you are saying, what the heck is pot liquor? Well, it is the most delightful, nutritious. It's when all the green juice gets all in there and cooks in with the collards, and it's all juicy and rich with all the vitamins and the crushed red pepper and the smoked salt. I just drink it. It's so good. And it's so good for you. Anyway. So I'm going to add some crushed red pepper. Looks like this. It kind of gives it a little spice to it. I'm going to add 1/2 teaspoon. If you like spicy, add more, but 1/2 teaspoon is perfect. Okay? And then I told you about my vinegar. I add vinegar when they're cooked, when I'm eating them, but I also add a tablespoon when I'm cooking. Oh, I can't open it. When I'm cooking my, okay, I got it, okay. I add it just to a tablespoon here, to that. Okay, my missing thing. Remember, I'm going to add a little black pepper. So I have this, I keep my salt and pepper in these little things. Just going to sprinkle some black pepper. And now I'm just going to put the top on. That's how easy this is. Okay, so I'm going to hit cancel because I don't want it to saute anymore, right? And now I'm going to put it for 16 minutes. So I'm going to set my timer for 16 minutes. Oops. And then that's it. Leave it. We're going to leave it alone. Let it cook up. I'm going to take a break, and then when it's all ready, I'll reveal how they look, and we'll taste them together. Trying to think of anything. Oh, when they're all done, that's when I add the salt. It's from the Spice Lab, hickory smoked salt, fine. It's gluten-free. It's delicious. I really don't use it for anything except collard greens. So it lasts a really long time. I ordered it on Amazon. It's delicious. It just gives the collard greens the smoky flavor, like what you might be missing if you think it needed some ham bone. Doesn't need any ham bone in it. Again, collard greens are good for you, a good way to get your greens in a day. They're good, good, good. Some people are intimidated. They see a collard green in the grocery store and they think, I don't know how to cook that. This is simple, easy, and you will love it. So anyway, I'll be back in a little while. We'll check on how the collard greens are doing. So I'll see you in a little bit. Okay. Hi, I'm back. Okay, we have 1 more minute before the collard greens are done. So I wanted to show you what happens. I release the steam when it beats. I'll show you how to do that. I know you probably know how to do that if you have an Instant Pot. I don't like to let them sit in there so they keep cooking and get all the nutrients cooked out. So I wait until it beeps and then I release the pressure. But before I do that, one of the things I wanted to tell you about are all the different greens that you could eat. I do make kale the same way. So I strip the kale. I do the same thing in here. Sometimes I'll add balsamic vinegar instead of apple cider vinegar to the kale. Okay, there we go. So that's another thing to keep in mind. And I'll share a little bit about more other greens you can do and you can eat in a minute. But let's do this so you can see. I release the pressure. Kind of obnoxious, I know, I'm sorry. I let the pressure release, and then I'm going to put them in this bowl so you can see what they look like. I want you to see what the pot liquor looks like too. Let me grab a glass so you'll be able to see. I'll use a wine glass so you can see what the pot liquor looks like. Anyway, while that's going, what I think I'll tell you about are all the different greens. I love reading about plant-based nutrition, and I love Dr. Esselstyn, and I love the things he shares. And one of the things he shares about all the different greens you should eat. He says this: you should eat 6 helpings of dark leafy greens a day. You should eat the handful, the size of a handful, 6 times a day. And here's what he says. I'm going to read them to get them right. These are the greens. Are you ready? Of course we know collard greens, but bok choy, Swiss chard, kale, collard greens, turnip greens, mustard greens, beet greens, I already said bok choy, arugula, spinach, Brussels sprouts, and asparagus. That gives you a big realm of choices to make. I know you might not like all of them. I don't love Brussels sprouts. I probably would like them if someone made them for me a better way that I've made them. I just think they taste like a little cabbage head to me. I don't know what it is. I don't like them. I love collard greens. I could eat these 6 times a day. But I think the purpose is to mix it up. You can cook them. You don't have to cook them. The 6 times a day are for people that have heart disease. That's what he recommends. Probably not going to hurt you to eat anyway, even if you don't have heart disease. I don't, but it's a good idea to eat that much. Let's see. The other thing, remember all the different things the dark leafy greens do to your body. It fights cancer. It gives you glowing skin. We didn't even talk about that. It does all kinds of things. All the vitamins. The calcium, as we get older, our calcium is depleted and osteoporosis sets in. This is a great way to get your calcium. Instead of taking a pill, you can eat eat whole foods, and that does the same thing, even better. So think about that. Okay, I kind of cheat sometimes. I push this down because I wanted to hurry up so we can taste the greens. because it takes forever. Think of all that pressure that built up in there. But I don't want to blow up my kitchen with the pressure cooker, so we might just have to wait patiently for it to go down a little bit. So I serve these a lot. I have Sunday dinner every Sunday or every other Sunday with my family, and collard greens is a staple. Every holiday I make collard greens. I think I grew up that way. So collard greens for Easter, for Thanksgiving. I don't do it at Christmas, but it's definitely a Thanksgiving thing, or any time. You can add collard greens to soups that you make. Add a few cups of collard greens. That's delicious. Okay, here we go. I think we're good. Almost. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and open up my collard greens and show you what they look delicious. I wish you could smell them. They smell so good. Where's my little thingamajig? Oh, here we go. I want to show you what they look like. Let's do this before I mix them up. They look like that. You can see the crushed red pepper on top. So what I like to do is I like to mix them up a little. And they're perfect. They look perfect. They look delicious. I mix them up. And remember I taught you about this handy dandy smoked salt? I don't measure. I just open it up and add a couple of pinches like this. Just mix it up. I like to do this after. I don't add a lot, just enough to flavor it. And I mix it up. And there's pot liquor in here, so I want to show you what that looks like too. And then I'll taste them. And I'm going to pour them in here so you can get a better look at what they look like. Okay. They're delicious. They look delicious. You can see the onions are cooked in there. Here we go. See how delicious? I love how they smell. They bring me back to being a kid when my dad would be in the kitchen cooking these. Probably a little different than me. I want to show you what the pot liquor looks like. It's way too hot for me to drink it right now. But this is called pot liquor. So good for you. Can you see what that looks like? It smells so good. Sometimes I'll just save the pot liquor after I've cooked collards in the week, and I just drink the pot liquor when the collards are all gone. So I'm going to show you what they taste like. Make sure I get some onions in here. Oh, my mouth is watering. They look so good. This is what they look like. I'll put a little bit more because when I'm done with this, I'll eat the whole thing. Anyway, I add a splash of Bragg's vinegar. Oh, I need a fork. I forgot to get a fork. Hold on. Okay. So I wish you were here and we would eat them together, but since you're not, I want you to make them and let me know how they taste. That crushed red pepper just gives it a little bit of a pizzazz. Anyway, this is what they look like. They're hot, but I'm going to taste them anyway. They're perfect. Believe it or not, they're almost sweet already. I don't get it. I just think the more tender they are. I know some people don't cook them quite as long as I do. I don't think 16 minutes is too long. But when I've done less time, I feel like they're a little tough. And I like tender. They're good. I don't think they need any more seasoning. You could add some more pepper if you wanted to, but honestly, the greens just taste so good. To me, the vinegar does it. They're so good. You're going to love it. One thing I'll tell you is some people do put balsamic vinegar on it instead of the apple cider vinegar. There's wonderful balsamics you can add on top too, and they naturally have a little sweet to it, but you don't need it unless you really want to sweeten it up. But anyway, these are my Southern vegan collard greens, plant-based, no oil. And I wanted to mention the no oil thing one more time. When I cook onions and garlic, I never use olive oil. I used to just dump it in there, dump it, and not even measure. I had no idea what I was doing. I think that doesn't really add that much flavor. I think this is better for your body if you are trying to lose weight. Cutting down that oil is going to help you. If you have heart disease, that's going to help you with your cholesterol going down, as well as eating the dark leafy greens. It's not that hard. You just get into the habit of cooking without oil, and trust me, I have wonderful salad dressings that have no oil. I use a lot of nuts. I think if you're a heart patient, you probably shouldn't use as much nuts as I do, but I love nuts. I make my salad dressings with some cashews, and I'll show you that. Also, this plant-based diet, it gives you a lot of energy. I feel like I can still 2 cartwheels all around my house. I won't, but I can. Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed being in my kitchen. I thank you for joining me today. Bev's Plant-Based Power Kitchen, that's my name. You can also go to my website. It's Bev Selby, S as in Sam, E-L-B as in boy, Y.com. I'm also an artist, so you will see a blog for this and also my artwork. So I thank you for joining me today in my kitchen and learning along right with me. Next week, I'm going to make dill pickle soup. I know that sounds crazy, but it's really, really good. I make it in an Instant Pot. I will tell you what you need. I'll put it on my blog so you can, if you want to cook along with me, you can do that, or you can replay it later. But it's simple, it's delicious. I took that from a soup that had all kinds of fat and stuff in it not good for you, and I veganized it. So I can't wait to share that with you. But thank you. I hope you have a good day, and be happy and be nice to somebody today. Talk to you later. Bye.